Okay, so I'm saying this before starting, that some characters who we have not seen much might be placed in some wrong spots, and for some monsters and titans, I was not able to find a lot of info, so we will have to judge them with the little information that we have got. So these creatures have no official name or designation, but they have been called gremlins and goblins. In terms of general appearance, they are semi-quadrupedal in posture with grey skin, 4 clawed limbs, a long thin tail, and large black spikes growing from their backs. These creatures' most notable feature is their head, which contains a maw of massive fangs supported by a pair of knife-like mandibles. They are aggressive creatures that will relentlessly pursue anything that disturbs them from their slumber. The creatures will bundle together in large numbers on the husks of dead trees, with their spiked backs facing outwards. This is done presumably as a way of obtaining shelter and safety from larger predators. Psycho-vultures are large bat-like creatures, possessing wide wingspans with leathery bat-like wings, and they grow to a wingspan of up to 9 feet. They have snub-nosed skulls and jaws sparsely filled with large jagged teeth. Their legs are armed with 3 clawed digits. Psycho-vultures also have thick dark manes, with males having a mohawk and females having a cobra hood. The psycho-vultures are hypothesized to exhibit signs of psychopathy by willingly inducing psychoactive effects by ingesting poisoned pufferfish native to their island. The resulting mania caused by the chemical agent pushes the psycho-vulture to indiscriminately hunt down and destroy everything it encounters, even members of its own species. Spore mantises exhibit a striking resemblance to elongated stick insects, albeit significantly magnified in size and enveloped by a protective exoskeletal covering reminiscent of bark. Their body structure comprises of 6 legs, each encased within a bark-like integument. These creatures possess diminutive heads that possess the remarkable ability to retract into their log-shaped armor. Particularly noteworthy are their prominent mandibles, akin to fangs, which serve the purpose of bone compression and crushing. Their digestive system uses a protein-rich sap to digest and encase the bodies of its prey before excreting the remains, perfectly preserved as crystalline amber droppings that clearly reveal what it had eaten. The Sker buffalo is a superbiological bovid that is largely amphibious in its grazing patterns. Initial phylogenetic studies show DNA ancestry with the Asian water buffalo, inhabiting lakes and large river systems. The Sker buffalo is equipped with a remarkable evolutionary advantage. The beast's back and flanks are fused with hard bony structures and dense green foliage. Sustaining its flora-faunal biology is a pulmonary heart divided into 4 chambers, 2 of which pump blood through the musculatory system, and 2 of which pump highly oxygenated chlorophyll to the plant life growing from its body. The Sker buffalo has evolved the ability to exist in a submerged state beneath the water for days at a time. Sker buffaloes can use their massive horns as powerful and dangerous weapons against anything that they perceive as threats. But judging by their size and strength, Sker buffaloes aren't strong enough to defend themselves from skull crawlers. Hellhawks are large creatures that exhibit a combination of bat-like and avian characteristics. They possess vulture-like heads with sharp curved beaks and bird-like feet equipped with long curved talons. Hellhawks evolved deep within the hollow earth. Like bats, they prefer to inhabit caves and dark caverns and spend their time hanging upside down from the ceiling. Hellhawks are aggressive predatory creatures that inhabit the caverns of the hollow earth. They are easy to agitate and will relentlessly swarm any aggressor they come across. They are fiercely defensive of their kills, as food is likely rare deep within the caverns of the hollow earth. The Hellhawk's primary weapons are their beak and talons, which enables them to carry and prey on humans effortlessly. Their talons also allow them to cling on to walls and ceilings, and the power behind the Hellhawk's talons is a 4,400 pounds per square inch, which is actually insane. The crocodilian creature, inhabiting one of the Skull Island's numerous rivers, represents a remarkable species. Similar to typical crocodiles, these creatures possess large osteoderms and scutes that extend along their dorsal surface in 3 rows that look like triangle patterns serving as protective armor. Most strikingly, these creatures possess 4 limbs with cat-like characteristics, allowing for exceptional terrestrial mobility. This unique limb structure enables the creature to briefly assume a bipedal stance, showing their impressive locomotion capabilities. Similar to other crocodilians, the monster possessed a formidable weapon in the form of its powerful jaws. With a single bite, it was capable of inflicting severe damage and mutilating human bodies within a matter of seconds. The sheer force and efficiency of its jaws allowed the monster to ravage its prey swiftly and effectively. The crocodilian monster displayed an advanced level of intelligence by actively avoiding rivers with waterfalls when hunting. It demonstrated strategic thinking by staying close to the shorelines of rivers and areas where it could easily jump onto land to continue pursuing its prey. By adapting its hunting strategy based on observing its current situation, the monster demonstrated a smart and calculated approach to maximize its chances of a successful hunt. A snare hunter ant varies greatly in size and appearance depending on the caste that it is born into, ranging from the size of a small dog to the massive 130-foot queen. Generally, snare hunter ants share some basic characteristics across all castes. Aside from being many times larger than normal ant species, snare hunters are covered in mossy growths, while their antennae resemble dead shrubs. Like all ant species, snare hunter ants are eusocial and live in massive underground colonies. Depending on the caste it is born into, a snare hunter ant will spend the majority of its time hunting, protecting, or building up the colony. Snare hunter queens are described as protectors by monarch. They are rarely seen above ground and are primarily focused on reproduction. But if the colony is destroyed or under dire threat, snare hunter queens will emerge to combat the threat. Mother longlegs are gigantic spider-like creatures that stand around 5 to 7 meters tall. They possess incredibly long legs that resemble bamboo stalks, allowing them to blend in seamlessly with the surrounding forests. With their legs posing as plants and their upper bodies held high above the canopy. The cephalothorax, which contains the spider's 8 red eyes and fangs, is noticeably smaller than the abdomen, which is covered in a sparse coating of thin hairs. In addition to their 8 legs, mother longlegs possess 2 additional limbs located closer to their heads, which are equipped with pincer-like claws. As an all-female species, every mother longlegs is a female, and they are a self-reproducing species. Mother longlegs are ambush predators that lurk in bamboo forests for unsuspecting prey. The legs of the mother longlegs are filled with poison that immobilizes victims, which allows the mother longlegs to drain vital nutrients from the victim. The mantaclaws are massive multi-legged creatures with thick spiked carapaces, small faces, and long finger-like claws that mimic the shape of pincers. Their carapaces notably resemble rocks, which most likely evolved as a form of camouflage. They tend to lay partially buried underground and will relocate if disturbed by larger creatures. But when the Skull Island manticlaw was disturbed by Mother Longlegs, it engaged the spider in combat, which displayed the species' propensity to fight off creatures of similar size. These creatures are not that strong. That's why they tend to hide from their predators and will only fight if some smaller or same-size organism approaches them. The killer chameleons possess an impressive adaptation known as chromatic or color change. By manipulating specialized cells called chromatophores in their skin, these chameleons can modify the pigmentation and pattern of their skin. This ability enables them to seamlessly blend in with their surroundings, making them nearly invisible to potential threats. As killer carnivorous beings, the chameleons possess exceptionally strong jaws, capable of delivering powerful bites. During the confrontation with Kong, one of the creatures managed to sink its teeth into the Titan's shoulder, causing visible signs of pain and discomfort. The force behind the bite was so formidable that the imprints of the chameleon's teeth remained discernible on Kong's skin even after the encounter. Despite the significant difference in size between the chameleons and Kong, these creatures showcased impressive physical strength and combat abilities. Each individual chameleon possessed the capability to engage in direct confrontations with Kong, successfully overpowering and subduing the Titan. By utilizing their powerful jaws, sharp claws, and remarkable agility, the chameleons were able to battle against Kong, which showcased their formidable combat prowess. This avian superspecies shares several visual similarities with raptorial birds such as hawks and falcons. In its teenage years, the hawk demonstrated the amazing capacity to lift creatures of comparable size and smaller stature skyward with ease. In its mature stage, the hawk possessed the remarkable ability to effortlessly seize and transport its hunted game through the expanse of Skull Island, ultimately reaching the secluded temple of Kong located far within the island's interior. But other than being a very giant hawk, it doesn't show any special abilities like breathing fire or doing some electric attack. So he is a strong monster, but he's nowhere near a Titan or even a smaller and weak Titan. Maya squids resemble a colossal octopus combined with some squid traits. Their heads resemble that of an octopus, being round in shape and having 2 large eyes. Like most cephalopods, they have 8 long arms lined with suction cups. Like other octopoda, the creature exhibits diaimatic behavior when threatened, expelling a thick cloud of black ink that is heated within the furnace-like temperatures of its mantle chambers. In this way, the Maya squid conceals itself from attacking predators while boiling them alive. Its beak-like jaws, usually hidden within the rubbery flesh of its huge bulbous head, are mounted within a complex muscle bed that enables them to rotate like fan blades. Hunting beneath the surface, the creature will swirl these jaws into a centrifuge, stirring up a vortex-like whirlpool that sucks prey down into its gaping jaw. Hollow earth lizards are large reptilians, being grayish-black in coloration with rows of spikes and osteoderms covering their back and shoulders, likely as a means of defense from other creatures within the hollow earth. Their heads are short and robust and possess jaws filled with large teeth. Their eyes are almost forward-facing, allowing binocular or stereoscopic vision, similar to many modern predatory species, indicating that hollow earth lizards are predators. So basically, the hollow earth lizards are subterranean predators that inhabit the rocky plains of the hollow earth. they demonstrate ambush predatory behavior, utilizing their gray coloration for camouflage and taking advantage of disrupted prey, as observed when Kong disturbed a group of manticlaws, making them vulnerable to the lizard's ambush. There are indications of social tendencies within the species, as groups of these lizards are observed traveling or congregating, potentially suggesting a propensity for communal behavior, especially in the pursuit of larger food sources. The frost vark is a quadrupedal creature adorned with overlapping layered, angular dermal armor plates that protrude outward. These scaly plates cover the entirety of the creature's body, extending from its head to its lengthy tail. The frost vark possesses at least a dozen specialized sensory tendrils which encircle its snout. These tendrils remain in perpetual motion as the creature actively investigates its surroundings. Notably, these sensory tendrils exhibit a distinctive bluish hue at their tips, emanating from bioluminescent globules. The frost vark relies on external heat emission to orient itself through frigid tundra environments and to find sustenance. It can sense active engines of aircraft, humans in the middle of a snowy terrain, and burning campfires fueled by wood. Due to it being a thermovore, the frost vark possesses a unique physiology ability to rapidly draw in large volumes of heat through its oral cavity. This action facilitates a rapid decrease in the ambient temperature of its surroundings, resulting in a substantial reduction in thermal energy as it absorbs the heat that it metabolizes. The consequential temperature drop is of such magnitude that it induces the solidification of both inorganic and organic materials within a matter of seconds. Mokele Membe. The name translates to the one who stops the flow of rivers, and it is a water-dwelling Congolese cryptid similar to a sauropod dinosaur. In the novelization, Mokele Membe is described as a grey quadruped with a pebbled reptilian back with a head resembling an earless elephant, although his tusks point down instead of up. Each of his feet possesses 5 claws, and his front legs are slightly longer than his hind legs. The tail of Mokele Membe is 2/3 the length of his entire body. His mouth opens like a crocodile to reveal thousands of sharp teeth. He also has a curved horn on top of his head, which pulsates with a faint green glow. So the skullcrawlers are a species of super predators that originated from the Hollow Earth before they invaded Skull Island. As the apex predators of Skull Island, skullcrawlers are fearsome and deadly in battle, and they use their jaws full of razor-sharp teeth as their primary weapons. They can hold their own against opponents like Kong. Their serpent-like tails are used for swatting, wrapping around, or throwing an opponent during combat. Skullcrawlers have prehensile tongues that they use to grab and quickly devour small prey, or for gripping large prey during combat. The iron dragon is shown to be extremely territorial and will become incredibly aggressive towards anything that approaches its territory or objects that it has claimed for its own. The iron dragon, notable for its immense size and aerial capabilities, exhibits a melanistic coloration and possesses a pair of substantial membranous wings. The creature's cranium is adorned with a prominent pair of bovine-like horns, imparting a distinct visual characteristic. Its mandibular structure presents a fusion of traits observed in anglerfish and avian species, featuring needle-like dentition, a bifurcated beak on the upper jaw, and gill-like structures flanking the neck on either side. The iron dragon possesses the ability to secrete a viscous nacre that encapsulates the body of its prey, which is capable of perfectly preserving them for several years. As it flies, the ion dragon is also capable of discharging radioactive ions into the air, which form aurora-like patterns in the sky. It is a unique predator and can track and hunt its prey on land as well as underwater, but he is much weaker when compared to flying titans like Rodan and Mothra. Behemoth resembles both the extinct woolly mammoth and the giant ground sloth, with large curved tusks resembling those of a mammoth, knuckle walking in a way reminiscent to that of a gorilla and ground sloth. Monarch describes Titanus behemoth as bioseismic, for he is able to create massive seismic tremors when he slams his tusks into objects. Its fur is essentially fireproof, as fire cannot burn on it. Very little of the heat from the fire affects Behemoth's skin, which makes it merely a nuisance. Behemoth's movement leaves behind trace amounts of radiation, which, as a result, grow jungle-like foliage in his path, and some other titans also have this ability. Skyla, or Scylla, refers to the female sea monster from Greek mythology, who is the daughter of Typhon. Skyla is an armored tank of a titan that can quickly change direction and maneuver sideways to throw off the attacks of opposing titans in battle by driving its massive claws into the earth like 6 seismic motors. Skyla is a scavenger with a biological imperative to feed on the carcasses of dead titans and process their nutrients into a deadly bacteria that can poison water sources. Skyla's appearance is that of a giant armored cephalopod and is brown coloration with 6 long segmented legs that are sparsely covered in hairs. Each of these legs possess 2 joints and end in a massive pointed claw covered in small spikes. Skyla's legs and their spiky tips are strong enough to tear through solid rock and buildings with ease. Her tendrils are also capable of destroying buildings and latching on to larger monsters. Her shell also provides protection from attacks, and her legs are capable of even slicing into Godzilla, but her attacks can't do much lasting damage to Godzilla. Warbats are subterranean apex predators that inhabit the rainforests of the Hollow Earth, possessing an aggressive nature. These creatures employ their serpentine bodies to coil around their prey and employ constriction as a means to bring about their victim's demise. Notably, warbats also exhibit the capacity to engage in cooperative hunting endeavors. For example, when the 2 warbats observed during the assault on Kong demonstrated a synchronized approach, suggesting a collaborative strategy between them to pursue and subdue their target. The jaws of the warbats are strong enough to crush vehicles, and their long serpentine bodies are powerful enough to grapple with and subdue creatures like the size of Kong, who is quite strong. Warbats also eject 9,800 gallons of venom from their 14-foot-long fangs when they bite, and can also spray venom from glands inside their wings, though they were not seen using this ability in their battle with Kong. The monsterverse Rodan is a member of a prehistoric reptilian aerial superspecies that co-evolved alongside other giant monsters like Godzilla and the Titans, and were in contact with humans during ancient human times. Rodan possesses an internal volcanic combustion system, causing him to radiate heat, the temperature of which can reach up to 1200 degrees Celsius. As a result, Rodan's external body temperature is life-threateningly hot upon close contact, to the point that he was able to use it during his skirmish with Mothra to slowly burn the latter to near death. Rodan is an intelligent and ferocious fighter in combat, shown by his use of aerial maneuvers when slaughtering the raptor squadron. However, Rodan also appears to be overly aggressive to a point which overrides pragmatism, shown by how he opted to clash with Ghidorah upon flying into the latter's storm near the former's territory despite his opponent's superior size, ferocity, and abilities. Mothra appears to be a particularly intelligent and loyal Titan. Unlike the other Titans, she defies King Ghidorah after the latter has usurped Godzilla's position as Alpha. She is a mythical being of resurrection, being capable of returning from death by laying an egg, from which she is reborn as a larva when her previous form dies. She has conquered death many times this way, to the point that she does not fear it. She is an insect-like superspecies which evolved in a highly vicious prehistoric environment that was full of predators, leading to her developing equally harsh methods of self-defense in the form of her stinger and her sharp legs. Godzilla's species lived alongside Mothra, and Mothra and Godzilla had a warm symbiotic relationship. Mothra's fighting style varies depending on what stage of life she is currently in. In her larval form, she primarily relies on her silk attack and her mandibles for combat. In her imago form, Mothra is a fierce enough aerial fighter to match Rodan and keep the latter occupied for a time before Rodan begins to overwhelm her. Methuselah is a gigantic quadrupedal creature that is grey in coloration. Most notably, upon his back sits a small jagged mountain, which is a result of his millennia-long hibernation. Methuselah has a large draconic skull with white eyes that have no pupils, and a mouth with large razor-sharp teeth. He also has large horns growing down from the top of his head that curl inwards, and his forelimbs are clawed while his hind limbs are hoofed. Unlike many titans, Methuselah lacks any elemental powers. Instead, he is dependent on his massive size and strength to bulldoze other titans in battle. He can use his powerful jaws and massive horns to inflict a great deal of damage and destruction while engaging in battle. The Mutos are ancient parasitic titans that evolved during the Permian period of Earth's history. The Mutos reproduced by killing members of the Titanus Gojira species as well as other species of titans and laying their eggs inside their prey's radioactive bodies. Like Godzilla, they feed off the Earth's natural radiation but can adapt and feed off of man-made radiation, such as warheads and nuclear reactors. Both male and female Mutos are armed with hook-like claws that are used to hack at and stab any Titan aggressors. The Mutos used their claws to stab Godzilla during the battle in San Francisco, and these attacks are strong enough to draw blood. The male Muto can unleash electromagnetic pulses which can disable electric apparatuses in a 5-mile wide radius. The female can instead surround herself with an EMP field which performs the same function, and they don't appear to have any limits to how often either Muto can use their EMP abilities. In the official novelization, it is explained the EMP ability evolved as a defense mechanism used to prevent Godzilla's species from using their atomic breath. The will to reproduce for Mutos is their main driving force and is so rapid that it is described as a breeding force that can quickly overwhelm and overpopulate the Earth. It is also revealed that any female Muto can eventually metamorphosize into a Muto Prime, which becomes even more powerful and efficient at reproduction. Amhuluk is an aggressive titan that is willing to kill others in order to claim territory and resources. However, he fears and respects Godzilla and chooses to retreat when the Alpha Titan asserts his dominance. Amhuluk's aggressive and destructive nature has led to Monarch classifying him as a destroyer. Amhuluk's brain possesses powerful biotelekinetic neurotransmitters. The creature that is Amhuluk is merely a head and parts of a spine, while the rest of his body is actually a telekinetically assembled mass of old vegetation, logs, branches, and moss, all melded together by his own mind. Amhuluk is able to generate bodies for himself using biotelekinetic neurotransmitters, so long as his head is intact and there is enough plant matter to create a new one. Amhuluk can create any form that he desires or that is beneficial to himself from the environment based on availability of vegetation surrounding him, including forms capable of flight. Amhuluk is first seen fighting Behemoth in the Amazon rainforest, managing to break one of his opponent's tusks during the battle. Behemoth fights back, slamming his remaining tusk into Amhuluk's face, knocking out teeth in the process. Amhuluk knocks Behemoth into the Amazon River and prepares to drown him, but the arrival of Godzilla stops the Titan. Amhuluk lunges after Godzilla but is quickly overpowered and forced to submit, resolving his territorial dispute with Behemoth. Afterwards, Amhuluk and the other Titans are sent into dormancy by Godzilla. The Kraken is a chimera of traits of various different animals. The monster's upper mass is comprised of a light blue octopus-like body with 6 suction cup-covered tentacles, which gradually leads into a more fish-like body that ends in a massive tail fin. 4 tentacle-like appendages are attached to the Kraken's lower half, each ending in 2 hooked barbs. At least 8 smaller yet extremely lengthy red tentacles appear to extend from underneath a dark blue hood near what could be considered the creature's neck. In contrast to these cephalopod-like features, 2 massive chitinous pincers are also attached to the Kraken's midsection. Most notably, the Kraken has a massive bulbous head with 2 sets of glowing eyes, a set of antennae partially covered in blue fuzz, a set of gills, and a massive black beak filled with sharp teeth and a purple tongue. The Kraken appeared to be destructive and territorial in nature. It was known to attack any ship that sailed too close to Skull Island, completely unwarranted, often killing entire human crews by pulling them underwater using its smaller manipulator tentacles. The Kraken exhibited formidable combat capabilities as it engaged in a titanic confrontation with large titans like Kong, delivering multiple severe injuries to the simian titan and engaging him in a protracted battle. It also possesses a formidable offensive capability through its tentacles, which are capable of delivering potent and lethal electric shocks to its victims. The shocks, when administered, pose a significant threat to the victim's well-being. If the victim manages to survive the initial shock, the Kraken's venom, which is deposited during the shock attack, takes effect. This venom is particularly detrimental to humans and gradually weakens the victims over time, eventually leading to their demise. So, Shinomura is a massive winged insect-like titan with blue segmented armor and black membranous wings. They had a total of 6 glowing white eyes, with there being 3 on each side of their head. Their bodies were long and serpentine, ending in a sharp, scorpion-like prehensile tail. Their mouths were comprised of sharp plates and supported by exomandibles. Shinomuras evolved and lived alongside Godzilla and numerous other titan species at least 250 million years ago, right before the Permian-Triassic extinction event happened. During the event, a Shinomura fell underground, where it laid dormant for millions of years until the bombing of Hiroshima awoke it. Shinomuras are a conglomerate of millions of cells merged to create one single entity. As long as there is radiation to sustain it, one single cell can regenerate into a complete Shinomura, similar to how a starfish can regenerate missing arms. Due to its composite structure, Shinomura can shape its combined form however way it chooses, allowing it to form extra appendages such as sharp tendrils and even take on smaller forms. It stated that if allowed to continually feed on radiation uninterrupted, a Shinomura can grow until it blocks out the sky. Upon reaching larger sizes, a Shinomura is capable of fighting titans like Godzilla head-on. But despite its affinity for radiation, which serves as its resource for carrying out the regenerative process, the Shinomura seems to lack the capacity to withstand the blast of a nuclear warhead, which suggests that the Titan is rather frail for its size compared to other Titans. Tiamat is very territorial and will fight other Titans for dominance. Centuries ago, Tiamat fought and killed a Kong species member when she ventured into his lair. However, she recognizes when the odds are against her, and when she was beaten by Godzilla after an intense battle, Tiamat was visibly frightened and submitted to the Alpha Titan to save herself from being killed. Tiamat can survive both on land and in water, though she's at a disadvantage on land. Monarch classifies Tiamat as being bio-ultraviolet in nature, as she often travels onto land to feed on electricity. Harnessing this power in electrogenic cells, Tiamat can discharge electrical currents to create extreme temperatures that it boils the ocean, often causing steam trails so massive that they can be seen from space. Monarch behavioral analysis suggests Tiamat uses the vocal folds in its tendrils to mimic the sounds of other species. Having spent many years in containment at Monarch Outpost 53, it also seems to have learned to mimic the sounds of human voices, while not possessing the vocal capabilities of speech. Tiamat is also able to spew a cloud of phosphorus ink from chemoreceptors in her venom hood that is capable of blinding and disorienting titans like Godzilla momentarily. But this venom cannot do much lasting damage to Godzilla and other strong titans. However, it might be able to paralyze or even kill smaller titans. Yamato no Orochi was described as a gigantic serpent with 8 hands and 8 tails. It had crimson eyes and belly. Because it is described to have trees growing from its back and moss covering its body, it is possible that this creature emits internal heat to such degree that this could be possible. It is also possible that Yamato no Orochi fed on the heat and radiation from Mount Fuji. It has been mentioned that Ghidorah is the only Titan in the monsterverse with multiple different heads, but it's possible that Yamato no Orochi might have 8 heads. But it's possible that they are not necessarily heads. It includes the possibility of him having 8 limbs or tentacles, which gives the appearance of heads. We don't know much except the fact that Orochi is able to spit a concentrated beam of fire from each of its 8 heads. Yamato no Orochi has been seen in some other Japanese films and animations, but I don't think the Monsterverse version is going to be exactly similar. That's why I'm not adding any more info on him. But one thing is for sure, and it's the fact that he is going to be a very strong Titan. Ghidorah is arguably the most malevolent and hostile Titan encountered so far. He can inflict electric shocks to his enemies by biting them, gain power by absorbing the energy of dead monsters, and form an energy shield capable of deflecting Godzilla's atomic breath. Unlike the other Titans, who attack humans or cause damage due to provocation, carnivorous hunger, or merely by being indifferent to the humans and the structures surrounding them. Ghidorah displays true malice, as he willingly tries to kill as many humans as he can, whether they're trying to pose a threat to him or not. And there are glimpses of all three of his heads seemingly smiling when he's just killed or is about to attack. According to information pieced together from ancient mythological texts, Ghidorah fell from the stars, which Monarch subsequently took as indicating, alongside Ghidorah's non-terrestrial biology, that he was an extraterrestrial life form who acts like an invasive species to Earth's biosphere. Ghidorah actively seeks to usurp command of Earth's Titans from Godzilla, and upon successfully doing so, he immediately commands the other Titans to join him in creating natural disasters and wreaking destruction on a global scale, to a point where the likely end result, if the global rampage continues, will be the eradication of all multicellular life except for Ghidorah within a few years.